Welcome to Football with Cheese. College football opening weekend is finally here. I know there were some games last week. Very excited. There's some huge matchups. Before we get into that, if you have not seen, I made 2 videos on the Micah Parsons traded to Green Bay. I did the instant reaction yesterday, and this morning I kind of broke it down a little bit more, what it means as a whole for both teams. Jerry Jones, does it make the Packers contenders, all of that. I'll link them both in these boxes. One of my subscribers messaged me, and he asked why I said $42 million a year on one video, $47 million in the other. It's $47 million a year in new money in the extension, but it's actually $42 million per year in the 5-year contract. So it's a 4-year extension, but it doesn't count this year. So it's basically 5 years, $210 million. So it's $42 million per year on the contract. It's $47 million per year new money on the extension. So that is why I said 42 on 47 on the other. If you have not subscribed, make sure you do so now and hit the bell for notification so you never miss one of my videos. Let's talk college football. But first, the 2 networks that basically show 90% of college football, I think CBS still shows some games, are Fox and ESPN. And I don't really like the coverage of either one. I'm not a fan of ESPN. Neither is my buddy Mike on the Sports Truth podcast that I co-host every Tuesday night. Links in the description. We just did a college football preview on Tuesday's show. So if you're a big fan of college football, make sure you check that out. We do predictions, Heisman, all of that. We picked the entire playoff. So let's start with Fox. Their pregame show, it's bad in the NFL. It's probably worse for college football. They have people like Matt Leinart and Brady Quinn, total busts in the NFL. They're just forgettable. They're very boring. Mark Ingram, he doesn't bring anything to the table. At least he was good in the NFL. Urban Meyer, what a joke. What a joke he is. He's just there because he's Urban Meyer. He's a big name. And this year, they have teamed with Barstool Sports. I do not like Barstool Sports at all. And the owner of Barstool Sports is Dave Portnoy. That's his name. So supposedly he's going to be on the Fox broadcast. I watch the ESPN pregame show anyway, and I'll explain that in a second. Definitely not going to watch Fox now. Dave Portnoy is a big Michigan fan. He doesn't hide it. When you're on TV and you're an analyst, sure, it's fun to joke around. I like this team. We know Charles Woodson. He's on Fox sometimes too. He loves Michigan. And we know Urban Meyer's always going to pick Ohio State to win. He used to coach there. But Dave Portnoy was banned from the Horseshoe, Ohio State Stadium, for the game this weekend, which is where the pregame crew will be. He was banned from the stadium, probably because he's a Michigan fan. But I wish more schools would do this, because Dave Portnoy is a little twerp. I do not care for him. I don't like Barstool Sports. He likes to go around to pizza places and just go in there and rate them. And a lot of pizza places don't like it. He's been kicked out of some. He just goes in there and thinks, I'm Dave Portnoy. You should just treat me like I'm a god. He's that arrogant, narcissistic attitude, which I cannot stand when people are like that. He doesn't try to hide it. I'm going to link a video. He was kicked out of a pizza place, and he decided to give him a 0.0 because he was kicked out, even though the pizza looked pretty good. And you should have seen him. Just watch the video. It's about a minute long. Walk off. Basically, like, how dare they do that to me? He had this attitude. He didn't say that exactly, but I just can't stand him. I can't stand him. And what's funny about him is he's a really short guy, okay? I'm not a tall guy. I'm a little below average, the height for a male. But he's really short. In every picture he takes, he stands on his tippy toes. And even put out a post on X saying it's not true, and he got community noted, and there's a video. I'm going to link that too. Make sure you check both those videos out. This is the guy that Fox hired, Dave Portnoy from Barstool Sports. He just owns it. They partnered, and of course he wants to be on TV because it's all about him. And when things don't go his way, he gets kicked out of his pizza places, he plays victim, like a lot of narcissists do. And he's an Ohio State hater, and they should ban him from the stadium. I like when he gets kicked out of pizza places because I don't like him. And this is more and more bad decisions by Fox. Remember they brought in Skip Bayless. He's no longer there now. Paid him millions of dollars. Fox just has no clue. Their NFL pregame group's been the same for so long, and they're just stale and terrible and getting old. Terry Bradshaw's been funny for a decade. I like Kurt Menefee. I don't like any of the others. So Fox just does not hire great people. I do like RG3. He calls games. I think he does a great job. Joel Klatt is very knowledgeable. I don't know. He just kind of annoys me. You know that analyst who you can tell watches film, does research, knows his stuff, but he just kind of annoys you? That's Joel Klatt for me. In ESPN, obviously, when you think the pregame for college football, you think Lee Corso. He is retiring. He's going to do one more game. He's got to be like 90 years old now. And I enjoy watching Corso for years. Put on the headgear for the team's mascot he picked to win. I enjoyed that. It's fun to watch. But Corso, you could tell 5 years ago he should have retired. He was working way past his prime. I think they just didn't want to fire him. But he should have quit years ago. You could tell the last 2 or 3 years he was struggling. He missed some weeks, and it just wasn't as entertaining. They'll probably do a big tribute for him, and he'll either put on the Buckeye or the Longhorn mascot. Nick Saban is part of the crew. He is boring and monotone. There's no doubt about it, but he's knowledgeable. You have to have someone on there that's very knowledgeable that tells you something you don't know. As a coach for years, he has knowledge that I do not know. So I do like listening to Saban, but boy, is he boring and monotone. Complete opposite of Pat McAfee. I love Pat McAfee. He's fun. He's engaging. And the main reason I watch the show. And they needed someone like that. They needed somebody to get you to watch. And Desmond Howard, he's a goofball. I actually met Desmond Howard in person. He's a very nice guy. I talked to him on the beach in the Bahamas for a while. He was very cool. But he doesn't really bring anything to the table. And then you have Kirk Herbstreit. If Kirk Herbstreit went away and was just no longer on there, they never made an announcement, I wouldn't even notice. He's forgettable. He's just, everyone be nice. Don't forget about this. He always tries to say something about the opponent. But look out for this. They have this third string wide receiver. Look out for that right guard. Or look out for this safety on the team. Just to show you, he knows college football. He knows who these players are. He always does stuff like that. He tries to get everyone involved, the nice guy, and it's so annoying. And my friends back in Tennessee, when we watched college football, if Kirk Herbstreit picked your team, we were all pissed. Because if he picked your team, it's a curse of Herbstreit. I have a friend who's a Penn State fan, and one year he picked them to win the Big Ten. They went 6-6. And he said, Kirk Herbstreit screwed us. And there was a game, I'm a Vols fan, they were playing Florida. It's been a few years, maybe more than 5. And everyone on the panel picked Florida. And then Herbstreit went last and picked Tennessee, I knew. And Tennessee lost, right at the end. Herbstreit, he does that. I'm just glad Brent Musburger retired. He's the worst ever. I could not stand Brent Musburger. I know some people like him. His voice is unique, but he is terrible. So ESPN, believe it or not, as much as I don't like their NFL coverage or their baseball coverage, they do have better people than Fox, in my opinion. I will go over that with Mike on the Sports Group podcast on Tuesday because I know he really doesn't like ESPN. He only watches it if he has to. I want to see what he thinks about Fox versus ESPN's coverage. Let's quickly get into games. Texas, Ohio State. Wow, 1 versus 3. So glad we have all these great matchups, non-conference matchups. The thing that worries me in the future is the SEC is going to 9 conference games, which they should. But if every conference does that, they're not going to schedule. Texas won't schedule Ohio State anymore. Bama won't schedule Florida State. Clemson, LSU, because they already have to play such a tough conference schedule, they're going to want 3 cupcakes. So that's the only thing that worries me about that. Ohio State is favored by 1.5. They are at home. It's in the Horseshoe. Ohio State lost as much talent as anyone in the country. Now, they have a lot of talent behind it, no doubt about it. Still have Jeremiah Smith. He's probably the best receiver in the country. They lost a lot of offense and defensive line. So they have a lot of new starters, and some of them don't have a lot of experience. So I think Texas will probably win, led by Arch Manning. Texas lost a lot too, just not as much as Ohio State. Remember, Texas played Ohio State as good as anyone. They were about to tie it up 21 before the strip sack fumble by Jack Sawyer. So In the playoff last year, Texas was playing them very close. I still don't think without the strip sack that Texas would have won. I still think Ohio State would have been closer. It was 28-14 after that play, and there was no more scoring the rest of the game. And Texas made a huge mistake playing Quinn Ewers, especially if he was banged up, which he was, instead of Arch Manning. Not only was Arch better, but he would have more experience now. It would help them last year, and it would help them this year. Really stupid move by Texas. But yeah, I think Texas wins a close one. I do. But it could go either way because it is in Columbus. Alabama at FSU. Florida State won 2 games last year. 2-10. They were a disaster. They beat Cal and Charleston Southern. They did play a really tough road ACC schedule, and they played Notre Dame. But still, 2-10. Brutal. I think Alabama wins big, even though it's at Tallahassee. LSU at Clemson. On the podcast, we've already talked about this game. But I like Clemson this year. I think they're one of the best teams in the country. They're favored by 4.5. I think they win by 7 or 10 points, but LSU could win it. I don't know what to do with LSU. There's no doubt they're super talented. Garrett Nussmeier's back. He's a Heisman candidate. But they returned 7 starters from last year. That's it. They lost a lot of offensive line. They did get some transfers, but I don't think they're the 9th best team in the country. We'll see. I just don't know what to do with LSU. I could see them going 10-2, making the playoff. I could see them going 8-4. And then on Sunday, Virginia Tech at South Carolina. I'm bringing this up because the spread's only 7.5. That surprised me. South Carolina's ranked 13th. They have Lenora Sellers, another Heisman candidate. Really talented quarterback. Ton of tools to work with. Vegas obviously thinks Virginia Tech's going to be pretty good this year because the spread's only 7.5. I do think South Carolina wins and covers, but that is interesting. Virginia Tech may be a team to watch as a surprise team. When we did our surprise teams in the ACC, I mentioned Georgia Tech and Louisville. I did not mention Virginia Tech, but possibly they're better than people think. And then Sunday night, we have Notre Dame at Miami. This could go either way. I think Notre Dame's favored by 2.5 at Miami. I do think they're better. I think Miami is a little overrated. I don't think they're a top 10 team. They lost Cam Ward. And Carson Beck is not as good as Cam Ward, not even close. He lost the job in Georgia to Gunnar Stockton, and Gunnar Stockton's not even that good. Carson Beck, I do not trust him. So I think Notre Dame gets the win here. But here's the thing about this. Miami needs this game more than Notre Dame. Notre Dame lost to Northern Illinois and still made the playoff. They were the 7 seed with that loss. Notre Dame loses to Miami, they're going to be fine. They went out, they make the playoff. Even if they lose one more game, they still could make the playoff. They host Texas A&M next week. They really only have to win one of those, either Miami or Texas A&M. They do host Boise State, who they're technically ranked 25th, but they won't be after losing to South Florida 31-7. They had 2 early fumbles, and I think the humidity got to them in the second half. They ran out of gas. But losing Ashton Gianti kills them. They could not run the ball. And I'm realizing how good Ashton Gianti is. And I already had him as the best prospect in the draft. I already said he's a generational talent. He might be even better than that because they did not look good on offense without him. It's not like South Florida's amazing. Who knows? Maybe they are. And then Notre Dame, that's it for ranked teams. Miami, A&M, and Boise State, you can't count them because they're not going to be ranked anymore. Let me pull up the schedule just to make sure I didn't forget anyone. Okay, Purdue at home. At Arkansas. Arkansas did beat Tennessee at home last year, so they got a shot. NC State at home. At Boston College, Navy at home. At Pitt. Syracuse not in the Dome. At Stanford. Stanford's going to be terrible this year. So that is Notre Dame's schedule. Favorable for sure. I do think they get in the playoff. So, exciting week of college football. I will do a video on Monday recapping the weekend, so make sure you check that out. Every Tuesday night, the Sports Truth Podcast with my buddy Mike, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific. I also write articles, packerstalk.com. I will link it in the description, so check out my articles. This Monday, it's going to be about optimism for the Packers season, all the reasons you should be optimistic. I have to add one, Micah Parsons, obviously. So make sure you subscribe, enable alerts so you never miss a video. If you enjoyed this, please give me a thumbs up, helps out the channel. Share this with anyone who loves football as we continue to grow football with cheese. Like I said, I got a couple of Micah Parsons videos if you have not checked those out, and I'll see you in the next video.